Do you ever feel like you're a creative person, but you just don't have the energy or the motivation to actually create what you want? If that sounds familiar, I think I have a very interesting video for you. This is some footage that I recorded while playing 7 Days to Die just a couple days ago, and this is my second commentary video. If you didn't see my first one, it was basically just me telling you who I am and what I want to do with my channel. And at the end of the video, I said that in my next commentary, I would have something I thought was pretty interesting to talk about. So that's what this video is going to be. Basically, whenever I'm recording for any video, I tend to talk to myself a lot as if I'm actually speaking to someone. I don't know what it is, but when I'm recording, the thoughts in my head are just said out loud. And I've previously talked about the possibility of streaming, and in that format, I could say those things and say them to people and have it actually be heard. But sometimes there's things that I want to talk about that I think deserve their own video. So let's just get into it. I think that it is important to be bored. Now, what does that mean? As someone who makes videos for video games, why am I saying that you should try being bored? My videos are entertainment of me playing entertainment. Well, to get back to the very beginning of the video, where I asked you if you felt you were a creative person but lacked the motivation to create anything, well, I too have been that person before. I cannot tell you how many unfinished projects I have, where I started it enthusiastically and gave up halfway or just before the end because I just lost all motivation to see it through. It's a self-sabotage, and it's really annoying. Alright, just to give a better idea of what I'm talking about here, I'm going to tell you a story about my 11th grade English teacher. So, one day we had an upcoming essay, and to get ready for it, he had all of us leave the school and walk with him for about 45 minutes in complete silence. We weren't allowed to talk to anybody, and we weren't allowed to make any noise whatsoever. And he told us while we were walking, we were going to think about what we were going to write on our essay. So when I was first walking, it was just really uncomfortable. You know, being in silence on your own is like normal, but being in silence when you're around, a bunch of people, it just feels off. It's like you have an urge in your chest to just say something. But I would say after about 15 minutes, which really isn't that long, but it felt very long, we all kind of just faded into our own heads. And for the rest of the walk, I was just thinking the whole time. And when we got back inside, I finished the entire essay in one sitting because I had so much that I thought about that I needed to write down. Now, if you know anything about writing, you've probably heard the advice to just write whatever comes to your mind, spontaneous, and then you worry about the small details and the grammar later on. Now, what I wrote when I came back from that walk was not readable at all. To me, it made sense, and to me, it was exactly what I thought of in my head. Now, I've always had an easier time writing what I think rather than speaking what I think. But I think the same rules apply when it comes to speaking to people. I think there's three kinds of speaking that we do. The first one is the everyday conversation, where we ask a question and we get an answer, or vice versa, and we usually know what the answer is going to be. And we've probably had this same conversation many, many times throughout our life. In these conversations, our brains are usually on autopilot. The second kind usually happens when we are overwhelmed or overstimulated. We start yapping a lot, and we don't even know what we're saying. Maybe we're making weird noises, and if we heard ourselves back on a recording, it would probably be really embarrassing to listen to. We just kind of turn into a yapatron, and sometimes it's hard to notice when you're like that. Maybe someone will tell you you're talking too much, and then you just stop talking completely. And that brings me to number three, when you don't really talk at all. Maybe someone asks you something, and you just respond with a head shake. Maybe you're underwhelmed and don't really have the energy to think of anything to say. And most likely, you're thinking a lot in your head. Now, just like when I'm recording videos, those things that I'm thinking in my head, I'm saying them out loud. But when you're in front of a real person, you're probably not going to be saying those things. Either it's going to be way out of pocket or not fit in the scenario of the conversation at all. But those things, those real thoughts, are the things that you need to be saying out loud. It can be hard, and just like writing, it's going to make no sense at first. But the more you do it, the better you're going to be at explaining yourself. A way to practice this is by just speaking whenever. You know, in elementary school, your teacher would be like, just sound it out. That's real shit. Sound it out to yourself. If there's something you're thinking of, just say it. Say it to yourself. If there's someone near you, just say it. If they think you're autistic, oh well. Now, I know most of you aren't going to do that. You're not going to take that advice from me. But if you really care about your creativeness, you're not going to worry about that. If you think about most artists and most successful creative people, a majority of them are not normal. And if they weren't famous or rich, they would just be weirdos. Now, you can also just be normal. That's cool too. But for me, being normal is not fun. I've tried to be normal in the past, and it's just tiring to keep up the character. I've always been pulled to more niche things. If I still cared about being seen as normal, you would not be watching this video right now, and my channel would not exist at all. The fear of being seen, making a video of me playing such a niche game, would just stop me from starting at all. It would stop me from doing something that I really enjoy doing. Next, you gotta be doing these things not for profit. I would be so delusional to think that I would be getting anything out of these videos. I already record gameplay of games with small player bases. So if I really cared about chasing YouTube money, I would be posting Siege clips. Or just making brain rot YouTube shorts. First off, I suck at Siege. And second off, if I was making YouTube shorts, I don't know how much longer I would last in this world. So what is my advice to you? Well, if you're watching this, there's a possibility that you've seen my other videos. And in that case, you're probably a fan of Smite. If you are, I think you should make Smite videos. Whatever you want. Because Smite YouTube doesn't have enough creators. And we can make the game bigger. If you really enjoy Smite, I think we all think it's a good idea for Smite to have more players. Call of Duty has millions of YouTubers. Minecraft has even more. If you want to be a COD or Minecraft YouTuber, go ahead. And if there's something you want to do completely outside of video games, do that. But whatever it is, fill your head with your own thoughts instead of other people's. Now that might sound contradictory because I'm saying things to you and then telling you not to listen. Yes, exactly. Turn this shitty video off right now, put your phone away, and just sit in silence and think. It's going to take a little while at first, but eventually you're going to notice that your brain is thinking of some pretty cool things. Obviously, I can't tell you what those ideas are going to be, but they're going to correlate to whatever you're meant to make. Whether that's videos, whether that's a movie, whether that's a book, whether that's a painting, whatever. One last thing I want to say is don't let the fear of not knowing enough stop you from making stuff. I've tried to write stuff in the past, and there's been teachers or peers or other adults who have told me it won't end out well because I haven't read some book. You can't make a movie because you haven't seen some foreign film from 1960. Don't worry about that. Just make what you want to make. The chances of your brain making something identical to something that already exists is so slim. And even if it's similar to something that does exist, it's still your own thing. And the more you let your own ideas speak, the more unique it'll be. Alright, if you're still here, I'd like to update you on the channel plans. I have a couple more Smite 2 videos in mind. I also might just play some ranked. Currently I'm in the middle of Plat, and I think I might just do a series of competitive games that I've recorded. And then there's another idea I have, a pretty big one. It'll be for this game you're watching right now. Basically, I want to do a 7 Days to Die challenge with a couple of my friends. I'll be hosting it, and it'll be like a Mr. Beast style video where everyone's on their own world, and it's gonna be permadeath. So if you die, you're out of the challenge. And whoever lasts the longest is gonna win some kind of reward. I'm thinking of doing something where whoever wins, I have to buy them whatever game they want on Steam. I'm still sorting out the logistics of it, but I think it'll be fun. And if you're watching this and you don't know anything about 7 Days to Die, the best way I can explain it is that it's like Rust but with zombies. And every 7 days there's a big horde of zombies. And you have to build your base, and there's different skills that you can put your points into. In this recording, I think I'm putting my points into Fortitude, and that's one of the two tanky classes. In Fortitude, you do more damage with your fists, and you specialize in machine guns. You're also able to drink and eat things without getting stomach bugs or dysentery. But yeah, I think this will probably be one of my biggest videos, so it might come out a little bit later. But there are going to be more Smite videos and maybe another commentary video in between. Last thing, if you've made it to the end of the video, I just want to know in the comments if you know about 7 Days to Die. And then I also want to know if you're watching this video because of 7 Days to Die or because you've seen my Smite videos. Alright, that's all. Thanks for watching. See ya.